Good morning, guys. I'm later than usual today. In fact, there isn't a usual anymore, really. Honey, you going to bring your ball? It's 11:19 and it's Friday. And have I been on an emotional roller coaster for the past, well, year really, but the last month has been quite incredible, really. And I wanted to talk about micro and macro. I suppose really because it's all about wanting everything in the world to be right and perfect, and realising that I can't even make things right and perfect in my own family, which is the micro, and is a reflection of the macro, the planet. So the micro is like my family, and the macro is the planet, the universe, the galaxies, whatever. And I've learnt some real lessons. And I guess it all started with Catherine's decision to go and live in Wales with her 6 children. And me really wanting the children to have a lovely send-off. The issue being that there's so many. I have 4 children who all have partners, and you know, all the ins and outs that go on with families. This one doesn't talk to that one because they don't like their partner, or they don't agree with what they're doing, and as the mother, all you want is for everyone to just get in and put their differences aside, and to show these 6 children who are going, yeah, it's only Wales, it's only like 4 hours drive away, but it's still a distance. It's not a place where people can just pop in and have a coffee or call round. You know, it's a journey, and usually it's an overnight journey, because 4 hours there and then 4 hours back, it's a long drive, especially if you're going to spend time going to the beach or playing with the children. So I really wanted there to be a party. I'd asked the children what they would like to do on their last outing with me here, and they said they'd love to go for a picnic in Canley Ford, and this was on the Sunday. So I thought, right, I won't say anything to the children, but what I would like is that when they arrive at Canley Ford, that their aunties and uncles and cousins, grandparents, great-grandparents all turn up and have this wonderful picnic together, and off they go. So I had kind of got to the stage of family peace, which is the micro, and that is the reflection of world peace, which is the macro. So I wanted family peace, and I thought, you know, I'd come up with all these road maps and peace plans. You're going to get your ball, honey? And that it would be fairly straightforward. I mean, surely my children, who are all adults with children of their own, could realise that they could put their differences aside for a couple of hours and send off the children happily, and have this, you know, photographs and videos and everything else to kind of take with them as happy memories. Yes, so world peace, family peace. It didn't work out like that at all, guys. Oh. And I thought, I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to make it easy for people. So I'll make the picnic. I'll make a going away cake, Jamnoy 72's recipe. Chocolate and orange I did this time. And, you know, off we'll go to Canleyford and everything will be great. So on Sunday morning, I was still under the impression that all of my children were going to go. However, on Sunday morning, when I'm busy making the cake, my son turned up and informed me that that wasn't the case. People weren't going to go. So I cancelled the family picnic and just went with Catherine, her partner Simon, the 6 children, my mum, me and Mustafa. And I was very, very upset that these adults could not just put their differences aside and come together as a family unit and just get along together for the kids for, you know, a couple of hours. Not even a day, you know, just a few hours. And I thought I was so right. And I was very angry, very, very angry at people's attitude. It never occurred to me that my attitude was wrong. It never occurred to me that it was nothing really to do with me, other people's relationships. And that why should they compromise? Oh, you see the dragonfly? Why should they compromise their values or feelings just because I said so? You know, do I think I'm Ban Ki-moon? Maybe I do. Is Ban Ki-moon still the person? I don't know anymore. All the names kind of merge into one. So it was very emotional for me because I could see the picnic. I'd visualised it in my mind. I'd seen you know, my children and their partners just kind of all being in one place and maybe getting over it, or at least tolerating each other for a couple of hours and maybe gaining something from that, you know. But all that actually happened was I ended up really upset. The kids enjoyed themselves anyway because they weren't expecting anybody else. They were very happy to see my mum there. And the great family portrait that I envisaged having 30 people in had 11. But that's okay. It wasn't at the time. I was, you know, why can't people see? Why can't they just get over these things? If your sister happens to have chosen a partner that you haven't chosen, well, that's good, really, because it means, you know, we got none of that funny business going on with siblings and partners. But it would be nice if you could just kind of get along together. And I feel that about the world. You know, I kind of look at the world and just think, you know, why can't everybody just get on? Why is it so difficult to... why do people have to interfere? You know, they don't like what's going on in that country or that part of the family. So, you know, I'm not talking to them. I'm just going to say horrible things about them and make out that they're really bad, because then that justifies my behaviour towards them. And I looked at my little micro world, my family world, and realised that the reality that I am perceiving in the macro, the big family, the world family, is a mirror. Where's your ball, honey? It's a mirror. And I've obviously spoken to my children individually since then and, you know, said, yes, I'm wrong. I had no right to put that kind of emotional pressure on you for the sake of the children. And to use the children, which I did. You know, I'm very good at emotional blackmail, actually. If there is such a thing as being very good at something like that. Hello everyone on the train. So, good girl. And it made me realise that this is what's going on. You know, the politicians and the governments, if you like, see that as a reflection of the parents, i.e. me, are kind of saying, you know, we need you to get along, we need people to get along, but basically we're using the children, which is the people of particular countries, shall we say, to say, you know, well, they're being subjugated, they're being oppressed, they're being this, they're being that. Let's do it for the kids. And basically the governments of other countries are like my grown-up children who are saying, well, no, I'm not doing that because I don't like the way they do things. And, oh, do you understand what I'm saying, guys? And I thought to myself, you know, world peace begins with peace in the micro. It begins with peace within the family, and more than that, it begins with peace within your being, yourself. And when we've got all this conflict going on and we're trying to fix it, I mean, I've talked about fixing it before. Come on, honey. We are still trying to push our values and our beliefs onto other people. We just don't really perceive it that way because it's our family, and families are just that. They have their ups and downs, their ins and outs, but generally they will support each other to any outside influence. But internally, they can be, you know, ripping each other to pieces left, right and centre. But I had kind of thought, you know, if I can get world peace within my family, then I'm only a few steps away from world peace in the big family, the planet family. And it's not that easy. And when we try and force our desires or our wants or our needs upon other people, we are oppressing them. I was oppressing people, you know. I was like, you need to do it for the children, the emotional, you know, how can you see the children suffer when all it would take would be for you to just be in the same place as this other person for like an hour. You don't even have to talk to them. You know, just let's all be together. Let the children see what a huge family they actually have. A bit like wanting the people of the world to see that we're not different families, we're all the same family. And look how massive it is. It's nearly 8 billion strong. Yeah. Can you hear all the acorns and everything dropping? And I've realised that It's about finding your own internal peace, and that doesn't involve having conflict or even trying to sort out existing conflict within your own family. Because just because I want it like that doesn't mean that they actually want it like that. And I might have heard bits and bobs of the tale of two sisters or the tale of two siblings and their partners. But I will only have heard a select version of that from one particular source that wants me to have the same impression of their sibling's partner as they have. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's all propaganda, even within families. And then I kind of realised that in attempting to do that, I was not peaceful. You know, I seriously, guys, I wasn't peaceful. I've been so stressed out, emotional like you wouldn't believe. Just all right one minute and then bursting into tears the next, thinking, you know, I have to fix it, I have to make it right. Well, you know, what I really need to do is to allow people to be where they are and to find my own inner peace, because then that will be reflected out. Not this conflict and this wanting things to be right, and right being my view of right, not anybody else's. I have been the dictator. I surely have, guys. You know, I'm the mother, blah, blah, blah. You should do this for the children. Come on, and using emotional blackmail and, you know, kind of, what have they ever done? And realising that this could be the people of Syria, this could be the people of Iraq, this could be the people of anywhere, Norway, bloody Scotland, whatever. You know, what have they ever done? They just want to live peacefully. And if I take each of my individual children and imagine them to be a continent or a country, and they're saying, you know, we can exist on the planet side by side, however, we're separate, you know. My country is Hannah, and we don't wish to talk to the country that is Faye. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hello. And while I just leave them to get on with their own devices and live their own lives without kind of contacting each other or whatever, I guess there is peace. But once I come in as the United Nations or, you know, Big Mama, like big powerful country, to try to change that status quo and impinge my thoughts and my beliefs for the benefit of the children of humanity, there's even more conflict. And instead of there being peace, there is none. I don't even have internal peace. And that has been, I can't tell you it. And it was like I suddenly realised, well, Mustaf, he said, Rose, you're wrong. You're wrong. And I'm like, how can I be wrong when I just want people to get on? And he says, because it's what you want for others. They might not want them for themselves. So therefore, you know, you're pressuring people to do something they don't necessarily want to do, even if at the end of it all there could be friendship and reconciliation. They're not at that stage yet. And if you just leave them to live their own lives, eventually they will come together when they are ready, without your pressure or your interference or your threats or your emotional blackmail. And that was hard for me, so hard, because I everything I was trying to do, I felt was for good, as I'm sure a lot of countries do when they decide to go and have a go at another country or interfere in their affairs. So I've kind of learnt an awful lot, and I've taken a lot of time to reflect on me and who I am, and how we constantly talk the talk and then we do a different kind of walk, you know, which doesn't match up and it's not congruent at all. It makes us feel kind of out of balance, not right inside. So yeah, and now I've kind of been able to say to them all, look, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I had no right. You know, you are in control of your lives independently of me, because the greatest gift any parent can give a child is independence. Yet here am I still trying to say, you know, hold my hand, let me take you, instead of letting them learn whatever lessons they need to learn in their own way. And that has really made me look at the world and, you know, yeah, there's conflict, there's aggression, there's pain, there's hurt. But maybe sometimes that's because if the people are not happy, the people need to change things themselves. It's not for some other sovereignty, as we're all our own sovereign states. I am Rose Bush, that is my sovereign state. Honey is Honey, whatever her family name might be, I don't really know. And she has her own sovereign state, as do all of my children, as do all countries. And, you know, in trying to pressure people to do things that they don't necessarily want to do, it's the people themselves have to change that. If we're forced to do it, like one of my daughters said to me, you know, I wasn't ready to do that, Mum. And I would have been really uncomfortable, and it could have ended up in a worse situation with the children, picking up on the tension and the animosity between their aunts and uncles and all the rest of it, instead of them having a lovely time as they did with you and Grandma Mustafa and their parents. So that's the micro and the macro, and I think a lot of the times what we need to do is, when we're looking at a world situation and we're there, like I do, guys, you know, I preach it out. World peace, world peace, world peace. And we can kind of talk about it so abstractly, and as if we are great commentators on it, yet we're not even looking at our own micro situation, the microscopic, what's going on the small scale within the family. And even though it's called the micro, it has such an effect on the macro. So I think world peace really begins in being so honest with yourself. And, you know, I don't know about the rest of the world, but I was kind of brought up in a place where, you know, your family was the best, your street was the best, your city was the best, your school was the best. You know, competition, 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 competition all the way. You know, right from kind of the first, well, it's plumbed into you and before you even realise what a family is, I think. And I still do that. You know, I still do that. Yet, in my own family, there isn't world peace. There isn't world peace. And I can't even sort that out because we are all sovereign. We are all our own little country in our own right. And who am I to tell others who they should be friendly with and who they should spend time with and who they should kind of compromise their values or ideals for? Do you get what I'm saying? I know you do. So I've done lots and lots of reflection, and yes, I think it's so important to focus on the world peace, but I think it's also about taking an introspective journey into your own sovereign land, your own sovereign state, which is your heart, and getting it right there, allowing others to be who they are. If that person harms me or threatens to harm me, then obviously I need to do something about that. But when they are existing within the same zone, the same area, and not kind of attacking each other or killing each other, or, you know, they just choose not to see each other because they don't want the conflict, then who am I to say, oh, you're wrong and I'm right because I'm mum and I know best and you're my kids and you should all get on and you should all... Well, you know what? In giving birth to a child and understanding that for them to succeed, they need to go on their own journeys and they need to become independent of you. There's a massive conflict there in my heart. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yep. So, I've been eating lots of kind of humble pie and realising that I need to sort out peace in my own heart, peace in my own being, and focus on what I am doing to create that peace, and not in one way constructing it through my expectations of what other sovereign states, beings, countries should do to make me happy and live life my way. So lots of lessons, and I probably haven't learned all the lessons from this yet. I do realise that there are obvious lessons, and then there are a lot of less obvious lessons that often come through reflection and honest internal dialogue, which I hadn't been doing. So guys, keep looking up. I'm going to go now, and I will get round to Obama's talk on Syria at some point. But then I think, what right have you to even consider talking about that and making out that you're Lord Peace Almighty when it's not even happening in the home, and mainly because you are telling people what they should do. You are the dictator. So that's it. I'm going to go.